really good to see you on today's webinar. And maybe you just caught the end of some of those videos, but there were 2 day in the life videos of apprentices that were playing there as you joined. Two very different sectors, one in civil engineering and one in software. And hopefully this webinar gives you a sense or a better sense of what the Workplus application includes, how you can make your application stand out with the growing competitiveness of apprenticeships, and also just a general idea of the apprenticeship system. So whether you're joining as an applicant, a parent, a careers advisor, or someone looking to change career, you're so welcome, and we hope that today's webinar really helps answer your questions. We will finish the webinar with a Q&A, so if any questions spring to mind as we go through this webinar and that aren't answered as part of the webinar, please do add them to the Q&A function as part of the Zoom webinar, and we'll get to those at the end. So hopefully you've seen that our August apprenticeship campaign is now live. Applications opened last week and then they will close on the 25th of August. So you've just about a week left to apply to the different opportunities. You may have already explored different options as you're thinking about your next steps, but hopefully wherever you're at in your career decisions, you find a bit of encouragement today about the option of an apprenticeship. There are so many options for you to consider as you think about your career and your next steps, whether you're leaving school or whether you're looking to change career and upskill yourself with another qualification. Apprenticeships are growing increasingly competitive though, so we really encourage you to think seriously about an apprenticeship and whether or not it's the right route for you. We don't want you to drop out of your apprenticeship or realise it's not right for you and then take the opportunity away from someone else, and particularly because there are limited opportunities with employers. So they're precious, and we want people to be applying that are really sure about an apprenticeship and are ready to work. So what are employers looking for? Well, this is a graph that just shows some of the top skills that employers are looking for in the next 5 years. And an apprenticeship is one of the ways that you get to grow and develop in those skills throughout your apprenticeship. Maybe you were online on the webinar for the first video that Elena talked about time management skills. If you missed that, don't worry, you can check out her video on our YouTube channel later. But these skills, it's increasingly important that you're focusing on your skills, that you're growing in these skills, and that you're looking for opportunities to help you develop those. And so an apprenticeship is one of the quickest ways that you get to grow in these skills and that employers are looking to help you on that journey. So what is an apprenticeship? Well, at a high level, an apprenticeship is a job and a free qualification. There's various levels of entry points, but an apprenticeship is essentially a job and also working typically 4 days a week in work and then 1 day a week at university or college working towards that free qualification. As an apprentice, you get a good salary from your employer. You may even get a bonus or promotion throughout your apprenticeship. And you could even see it as being paid to go to university or to go to college. And because you avoid fees as a student, you don't have to think about taking out a student loan for your tuition that is fully funded by the government. So do check that you're eligible for an apprenticeship before you apply. Some people may be overqualified and not able to avail of apprenticeship funding. So do check that you meet the requirements. Mentoring is a key part to an apprenticeship, and that just means that someone in the business where you're working as an apprentice comes alongside you and supports you throughout your journey. Someone for you to ask questions to check in with and make sure your workload's appropriate, and also just to help you adapt to the transition to the workplace if you're coming out of school. There's a variety of levels of apprenticeships, and so this next slide breaks it down in a bit more detail about those levels. You can do an apprenticeship after your GCSEs, and so if you're interested in those level apprenticeships, look at level 2 or 3 opportunities that are live on Workplus. There are some apprenticeships at level 2 that you don't even need GCSEs for, so do have a look and see if you're eligible. However, the employer might state additional requirements for those apprenticeships. If you have A levels or equivalent, you'll want to look at applying to higher level apprenticeships. These are also known as degree apprenticeships. And that means that you're looking to apply to apprenticeships at level 4, 5, or 6. And those are higher level apprenticeships. And again, you can check the training requirements with the individual training provider or with the employer to make sure that you're eligible. But there's a range of levels, and you'll want to make sure that you're applying to the correct level that suits you. All these level of apprenticeships are fully funded by the government, and they're funded for all ages. So anyone can apply to an apprenticeship as long as you're not overqualified or already have a qualification in that same relevant subject area. So why did Workplus start? Well, Workplus started to bring together lots of different companies that were advertising their apprenticeships at different times. They all had different ways of doing things, and it was really hard for applicants to find out about the apprenticeship opportunities that were right for them. So Workplus is looking to bring together different employers into one place. We have a range of companies that we're working with. We're a membership organisation, and the next few slides show some of our members. And we also as well have a funded project at the minute, which is called Software for All, which is bringing together and coordinating opportunities for software, cyber and fintech apprenticeships in those sectors. So there's additional organisations that are hiring through Workplus as part of that Software for All project. At Workplus, we're simplifying the apprenticeship system and making it easier for you to find and apply to multiple opportunities. But how do you apply? Well, you can apply for the job opportunity on Workplus, and we run different campaigns at different times during the year. August is our smaller campaign, and then January for September 2026 starts our next campaign, will be our main campaign each year. And then also after you've applied to the job opportunity, you need to apply to the training provider. So that's applying to the university or college. Each university and college has a different way of doing things. And so some of those applications will be an apply now process, while others will be apply after you've received the offer for your apprenticeship. So keep an eye on the course that you're applying to, the course that the employer wants you to apply to, and see when you need to apply to the course. Hopefully you've been on our website and you've seen the timeline for this campaign. So I mentioned that opportunities went live last week, and then our applications close next Monday. And we don't accept late applications, so make sure that you have everything completed and double check that your application has been properly submitted well before you reach the deadline. You'll also see the dates on our website as well as on your profile, on your login, for the different stages of the process. So that means that you'll know exactly when you may hear from employers, if they'd like to invite you for an interview, when those interviews might be, and then when you might get an offer, which is from the 1st of September at the earliest, to then start the course in the coming days. So it's a quick turnaround, but you know the dates now, so hopefully that helps with your preparations. So how do you find the opportunities on the Workplus website? And we'll just head to workplus.app, app for apprentice, and then you can click on the Career Explorers tab to be taken to the apprenticeships section. And this takes you on to the apprenticeships page. And if you click to the August 2025 campaign tab, then you will be finding more information there about our opportunities. You'll need to create your profile first to see all the opportunities and be able to apply to the opportunities. But for now, our opportunities can be viewed and you can just click more info on each of the opportunities. You can have a look at our opportunities in a list view. There are 14 different apprenticeships, and then you can also see them in a map view if that is easier to navigate. You can add different filters to the opportunities to find the opportunity that's right for you and your interests, and then you can have a look and explore what they might be like. Here you can see a screen recording of the website. I'm on an opportunity here, and you can see that there's lots of different sections of the page that breaks down about the role. You can also click to find your Google Maps route to an opportunity if you're not sure how far away it might be from your address. Have a look at the job description, have a look at the person specification, and see if it's a good fit for you and your interests, your skills, your subjects. And then you can also click on the company name to find out more about the company and what the organisation is doing, especially if it's an organisation that you haven't heard of before. So do make sure you check out and do your research on the employer profiles. We have some opportunities at lower levels, so at level 2 and 3, such as engineering, as well as HR opportunity, and an accounts administrator opportunity. Lots of great opportunities within organisations that are working in sectors like construction or engineering, but that have opportunities in business administration. So do check out those great opportunities with two excellent companies. And we also have a growing number of software opportunities. So look out for the cloud computing opportunities, look out for cybersecurity opportunities and for software. There's a range of opportunities then. If you've applied for opportunities before in a previous campaign, you're welcome to apply again. Please do keep applying. You'll also see that we ourselves at Workplus are hiring for a marketing and business assistant. So you can check out our internal role there if you'd like to apply to that. That's on a course pathway called Leading Customer Operations, which is like a business management course, and that's working at degree level. So it's at level 6. Once you've had a look at the opportunities, do, as I said earlier, remember to have a look at the different employer profiles and get a sense of what it might be like to work at the company and the opportunities that you might have working there. And do make sure that you research the company before you apply to them, and because then you're saving time of the employer if you realise that it's not for you. Realise that at this stage instead of applying and then maybe dropping out later down the line. So do have a look at the employer profiles. If you're seeing no apply now button on an opportunity, that's because you haven't created your profile yet. So you'll see there in the purple box at the bottom, a button to go to your profile, and that's where you need to start. So don't panic if you're not seeing the apply now button. It's just because you're not logged in yet and you haven't created your profile. And then after that, you will be able to see the apply now button. So how do you create your profile? Well, you click that create your profile button, or you navigate to this section through our website and you enter your email address. Make sure that this email address is the one that you're happy for employers to reach out to you. So maybe your school email address is not the most appropriate one. Maybe you want to create a personal email address and just make sure that you have access to this email address throughout your apprenticeship process. Once you've entered your email, you'll also get a PIN code then to log in and verify your account. So it's one less password for you to remember. Just enter your PIN and then you're through to your dashboard. This is us on the homepage now of the dashboard, and we'll need to create our profile. So we go on to the little person icon and click profile. It's showing as completed for me because I've done it before, but yours will be saying to start now or something similar as you start to enter your details. To create your profile then, you'll see that there's 6 different sections as part of your profile, and you can just navigate those from the top, as well as seeing at a glance what you maybe need to anticipate answering. And so to start that, you'll start with your contact information to create in the first section. And you'll also be asked about information about your skills. So if you're in school, you can add that there. If you're not in school, just select no and move on to the next question. At the end of each section, just click Save Section, and then move on. You'll be navigated to the next part of the application process as part of your profile. To enter your qualifications, that's just entering any subjects that you've already undertaken or any predicted grades that you have. Enter them here into the search bar, and you'll see that in the grey box there's a few steps or kind of tips to think about before you enter all your qualifications. So please do read those tips before you enter your qualifications, and that'll help you navigate this section of the profile better. Once you select your qualification, you'll then be asked to add your grade, where you completed the qualification, and which date. And if it's a predicted grade, then tick the predicted grade box. And make sure to include your predicted grades or any pending grades, because employers will be using these to make their assessments usually. So make sure that you are including predicted grades if you want to be shortlisted. You'll save each qualification, and then once you've saved all your qualifications, you can save the section and move on to section 3. So this is the employment and work experience section, and you can add information there as relevant. You can add any part-time jobs that you've had, as well as any volunteering experience or work experience or work shadowing that you've completed. Do add as much as you can there. Around 3 maybe is a good base mark, but do add as much information as possible and use it as an opportunity to tell employers about your skills, about those skills we talked about at the beginning. That's what employers are looking for. They're looking at your skills, who you are as a person, and how you might fit into their company and what you might bring to the team from your experience, as well as from your interest in an apprenticeship. So think carefully about what you write in the employment and work experience section. And once you've completed that section, then you'll move on to our additional questions section. This is the bit that takes a bit more time because you've got 550-word answer questions. You'll want to think carefully about these answers, again, giving a sense to employers about your skills, about who you are as a person, and about how you might be a good asset to their organisation. So do have a think about your answers, maybe on a Google document or have a working document or something similar alongside your application so that you can send it to somebody to get their advice and input, so you can think about how to make it better and make yourself stand out even more. Do send it on to a parent or teacher, an advisor, somebody who can help you to make your answers really great. And we advise you as well to use all the 150 words. You'll want to use every word to highlight how you would be a good fit for their organisation and how you've done your research by reading employer profiles and by looking into the sector as a whole. This section of your application profile will be seen by different employers that you're applying to. So maybe you'll want to make it generic if you are applying to different types of apprenticeships. But this is important to think carefully about what your answers will be. You'll also see that at the end, after those 5 longer answer questions, there's a few shorter questions, and do just answer those as appropriate, and then you can move on to the next section. Section 5 is a monitoring section, so you can answer those questions there, and then also accept the declaration to complete your profile. Once you've completed your profile, you have done a lot of hard work, but you haven't actually applied yet to any of the apprenticeships. So if you only get to that stage, no employers are going to see your profile. Profiles are not seen by employers until you apply to their specific opportunities. So how do you apply to opportunities? Well, you click the Browse Opportunities button on your dashboard, and then that will take you back to the view of all the opportunities, and you'll see that you can see now the Apply Now button on the individual opportunities. Once you've considered all the opportunities, again, remembering to read the job descriptions and the person specifications to make sure a good fit, you can then click Apply Now and select the pathway that you'll have seen in the job description. This will be automatically filled in for you. And if you see a grayed out pathway, that means that you've already started an application. You may not have finished it, so you'll want to check that it's not listed under incomplete applications on your dashboard. But if it's grayed out, it's because you've already started it or you've already completed that application. So select the pathway and then rank the employers. This one particular pathway only has one employer in it, whereas other pathways may have multiple employers in it. So you'll want to rank those opportunities. We really encourage you to rank the opportunities because employers often use this ranking as part of their shortlisting process. So they'll be seeing who's ranked them as number 1 or number 2. So think carefully about the opportunities. And make sure that you delete or remove any opportunities from the list if there's more than one that you don't want to apply to, because those employers are seeing your application, they're considering you and whether or not to invite you for interview. So if you're not sure about it, don't apply to it because you could be taking the opportunity away from somebody else. So tick as relevant and then save the section and move on to the next part of your application. This is an acknowledgement section of the training provider, so you'll want to tick the box to acknowledge that you are aware that it's a separate application to the training provider. You don't apply to the training provider through Workplus. But what you can do is you can have a look on Workplus and see whether or not it's an Apply Now course or whether or not it's apply after the offer has been made to you. You'll find a box, remember, in the particular opportunity for where that course is, for more information about the course. And we recommend that you save the link to this course so you can easily find it later on if you've been made an offer by the employer, or if the employer is asking you to apply earlier, or the college requires you to apply earlier. So all that information about the course is found on our website, but you don't apply on our website. You need to apply to the course as a separate application. Then there's the final part of the apprenticeship application part of your Workplus application is a longer answer question, again, about why you want to start this type of job. And this is a specific question to the pathway that you're applying to. So if you're applying to multiple pathways, maybe you're applying to software and cyber pathways, you can tailor this answer to the relevant pathway. So you can make it a bit more specific. Again, think carefully about your answer. Think about how you can showcase your skills. Think about how you can tell the employer why you're really passionate about this industry and why an apprenticeship is a great opportunity for you, and why you're ready for an apprenticeship, ready to start work, ready for that transition to the workplace, as well as working towards a qualification. And remember, apprenticeships are competitive, so you'll want to make sure that you include every word that helps sell yourself to employers and gives them confidence in inviting you for an interview. And once you've saved that section, you'll see that you get a lovely application complete message, and that will trigger an email that you'll receive to say that your application is complete. So make sure that you look out for that email to make sure that you have completed your application. And you'll also see it as completed on your dashboard under the completed application section. So again, make sure that it is definitely complete. Make sure you haven't just completed your profile, but that you've also directly applied to the specific apprenticeship pathway and employers that you're interested in. You can check on your email, as I said, that you have completed your application properly, and you can also see all the dates there if you need more information. You can download your application once you've completed it. So if you want to send it on to somebody or email it to somebody for advice, or if there's any improvements you can make, you can do that before the deadline, but then your edits won't be available to employers after the deadline. So make sure you do all of that before the deadline. To double check then on how you're doing with your application process, you'll want to go to the little person icon when you're logged in on your dashboard, and you'll see there that you've got a checklist of the 3 different parts of the Workplus application. So you've got the profile, which you've completed, you've got the applications, which you've just made, and particularly remembering to check that you've got an email notification and that you've also seen your application listed as complete on your dashboard. And then you'll see that there's a 3rd part, which is your suitability assessment. For me, it said completed because I've done it before, but for you, if this is your first time applying, it will not say completed. It will invite you to take the suitability assessment. This part isn't mandatory, but we really encourage you to have a go and complete it, because a lot of employers tend to use it in their shortlisting process. This is because it's helpful for them to see how you're a fit to their particular role, but it's also something that they may use to just see whether or not you as the applicant have taken the time to complete the suitability assessment. So they might not factor in your score much, but they may factor in whether or not you've taken the time to complete it, as that shows that you're going above and beyond and completing the whole process. The suitability assessment takes you to a new platform, or opens up in a new tab with a company called Preview, and that's where you'll complete the suitability assessment. It takes about 35 minutes to complete, and you'll have a short practice to start off with. So you can do that there. If you normally get extra time or you require any accessibility adjustments, just reach out to us through the Workplus chat function, and we can send you a link that gives you a bit more time to complete it. Once you've completed it, you'll get a thank you screen again for taking the suitability assessment, and then you'll want to go back to your Workplus dashboard to see that you have completed it and that it's come up as complete. You won't see your results, you won't see your scores, but that will come through on the employer's view, and they'll be able to see whether or not you have completed it. So remember, there's 2 parts to applying for an apprenticeship. There's the part where you're applying to the job, which you can do through Workplus before our applications close on Monday the 25th of August. And then there's also the part where you apply to the training provider. And remember, that is a separate application form, and it varies depending on the college or the university. So check on their processes. Some tips for making your application great. You'll see a few different ones on the screen, but they're just taken from a video that I will play now, which will walk through some top tips from employers themselves about how you can make your Workplus application great.
My top tip for application is just be yourself.
When there's a large number of applications coming in, being concise is key so that shortlisting can be done and we can find the right people as quickly as possible.
Note down all your life and work experience as much as we look at your grades and predicted grades. We want to see what you like to do in your social life and also if you have any work experience.
We always like to see teamwork on the application, so if you can put that through on your work experience or different teams or stuff that you're in, that comes across well.
Really think about your skills and how you can highlight them and sell them to the employer.
Use the interest box, write what you're passionate about, and that will help target your employers better.
Use the STAR method, so the situation, task, the action and result, to keep your answers really structured and concise and to use clear examples.
Great, so there's lots of top tips there. You can find that video on our YouTube channel. And there's also a webinar that myself and my colleague Ruth did a few months ago for the interview process. So if you want top tips for the interviews, do go and have a look at that webinar on our YouTube channel. Lots and lots of videos there to help you do your research and help you think about how you can make your application stand out. As I said, apprenticeships are competitive. There's lots of applicants for very few apprenticeship opportunities. So do think carefully about your application and only apply if you're certain that an apprenticeship route is a route that you're ready for and a route that you are passionate about within that industry. So do think carefully about your application. On the website, we've got lots of FAQs, which are frequently asked questions about apprenticeships. So have a look at all those FAQs if that this webinar so far hasn't answered any of your questions. You'll see as well that if you have a disability or a health condition, there's additional support that is available for you throughout the application process and also mentoring in the workplace. So do have a look and reach out to the guys at Disability Action if you'd like support. We have a chat function that you can click on the little chat icon that you see throughout your application or on our website if you have any questions. So please do reach out to the Workplus team through the chat function.